All right, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
We're just a couple of disciples out of Great Millstone, Atlanta. I'm the brother Khabari Call.
I'm the brother Benaim.
But before we start this lesson, we're going to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us all this truth and who also rule and teach well. And shalom to the elect. And, we're just going to do this quick lesson, just going into, the prophets are back. The prophets are on the scene. Okay, because, if you understand the Bible, the Lord is always dealing with the prophets, which, by the way, are only Israelites.
Correct.
The prophets were always out of the sons of God, out of the children of Israel.
Right.
And, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, I'm going to start with this. Oh, you got it.
Yeah, as you were speaking a moment ago, the scripture states, just roughly paraphrasing, he revealed his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. Yeah. Go ahead, bro, you got it.
This is Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, Yahweh, which that's the name of the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yep. The name of his only begotten son is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, that's not his true name. But continuing on, it says, Yahweh, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. So the Lord speaks by the prophets. The Lord doesn't come down off his throne to tell you something, because that's a misconception in the world. You got something to add?
Yeah, even when you said the Lord doesn't come down off his throne, and even if he did, these jakes would be like they were in the ancient world when the Lord came down. And they were shook. They were scared. Yep. They was like, hey, don't have him speak to us.
Right.
Hey, Moses, we'd rather have you speak to us.
Never mind, Moses. We know.
right. Hey, don't speak to. Hey, don't speak. Hey, Moses, we'd rather have you.
Right.
And our people in that same spirit now, man. All right. Go ahead, brother. You got it.
Right. It says, hath in these last days, which this was written 2,000 years ago. So how much more are we in the last days now?
Yep.
We're in the last seconds of Esau, Edom's kingdom.
Yep.
Which Esau, Edom is the so-called white race, the Edomites. This is their world, this is their kingdom, and it's coming to an end. It says, in the last days spoken unto us by his son, Yahweh Shai, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the world. So this whole planet Earth and everything in it belongs to Yahweh Shai. It was created for him. But guess what? It says those that suffer with him are going to be joint heirs with him.
You're going to reign with him.
Go ahead, you got anything to add?
Go ahead, bro. You got it.
I'm going to get this one now. And this is where, the inspiration for this lesson came from, this scripture right here. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And I'll start at 24. It says, for wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her prudeness. All right, so this is speaking about wisdom, okay, which only comes from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and it's only given to the elect of the nation of Israel. It says, for she is the breath of the power of Yahweh, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her. So only the elect is going to be able to come into this truth and get that wisdom and retain it, It says, where am I at? Verse 26, for she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of the Most High, and the image of his goodness. Now, this is the point. And being one, she can do all things, and remaining in herself, she maketh all things new. And in ages entering into holy souls, she maketh them friends of Yahweh and prophets. So wisdom is always gonna, throughout all ages, go back to the prophets.
Right.
Okay. And what did it say? It says, entering into holy souls. What does the word holy mean? Separate.
Yep.
The prophets are separate. They're not the average Israelite. You got it.
I like how you said the prophets are separate, because even in today's time, we're called to be holy and separate and set apart from all the other nations.
Right.
As just roughly paraphrasing, the scripture says, for we are a holy people unto the Lord thy God. And that's what the elect are doing now. We're separating ourselves from this world. Yes, we live in the world. We're not of this world, but we still have to function in it. But still, the hopefully elect, we couldn't care less, man.
Right.
The scripture tells us we look forward to the things that are to come. That's why we're laboring now, so we can enter into that rest. And Lord willing, if we are of the elect, we will. Go ahead, brother, you got it.
I got one for you. This is Romans chapter 12 and verse. The point is in 2. I'll start at 1 though.
Yep.
It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy. I'm just speaking on that. Acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. You got it, bro.
Like me and the brother was talking about that. That's funny you say, which is a reasonable service. Then before we got on the interstate, before we came on the way to camp, we talked about playing.
Oh,
injured. Yeah. We talked about playing injured. You know, brothers, are experiencing various things, mental ailments, physical ailments, financial ailments, whatever the case may be. But through the Spirit, we still play injured. And then at the end of the day, we know whatever condition that we're in, we're still unprofitable service. But guess what? This is our reasonable service.
Right.
Because the Lord only entrusted a select few with this truth, this knowledge, this understanding. We see all type of silly Negroes falling out of the truth, coming up with weird, strange doctrines, man. Right? The Lord is making a clear distinction who he's giving his truth to and who doesn't have it, and who's falling out of the truth right before our very eyes, man. Go ahead, bro. You got it, bro.
And this is the point. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable will, and perfect will of Yahweh. And that's just adding to your point, how you said, we're not to be in this world. We're not to mix and mingle in this world. These guys that are bugging out, we saw them do that, and look at where it got them.
Right.
The apostles kept warning them, like, stop going around, these committed guys, stop going around these Christians, stop doing these things.
Right.
They kept doing it, and look at where it got them.
Right.
Now, they're being embarrassed before everybody.
Right.
You got it, bro.
And to add to you, bro, the world, it can have a strong pull on you. The money, the cars, rubbing elbows and shoulders with certain groups of people in certain settings, living a certain, lifestyle. If you're around this every day on a regular basis, people who have, a certain level of prestige, it'll pull on you after a while. But if you're immersed in this truth, you'll be the more you immerse in this truth, the more you'll be pulled into that.
Right.
Go ahead, bro. You got it.
To add to you, what did Yahweh Shai say? Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Fire.
So whatever you're really into, you're gonna be doing that.
Right.
If you're into the world, you're gonna be doing worldly things.
Right.
You're gonna be hanging out with worldly people.
Right. Rappers and Adam. What is it? Adam 22. What is it? What's that dude?
Yeah, that's him.
That's him. Yeah. You're gonna be, just mingling too much with the world. We understand, we get it. You gotta work, you gotta earn your daily bread, so on and so forth. But most brothers, we get in, we get out, man. We go to work, earn our wages. Hey, we go about our way, man. We get back to the real work, which is the truth. Go ahead, brother.
Right. Yep. Use the word, don't abuse it.
Right.
I'm gonna get the next scripture now. This is Daniel 12 and 13. All right, Daniel chapter 12 and 13. It says, but go thou thy way till the end be. Like I mentioned, we're at the end. We're at the end of Esau, Edom's, rule on the planet Earth. And we're at the end of the heathens' rule, period. Because after Esau gets taken down, no other nation is going to take the power seat but the nation of Israel.
That's right.
It says, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of days. Yep. So what does he mean by that? Daniel died and went back to the spiritual world.
Right.
And eventually throughout the generations he came back. Right. And now he's back in these times.
Yep.
We don't know who he is, but the scriptures tells you he's going to be here in the last days.
That's right.
So there you go. The prophets, come back.
That's right.
You got anything else?
Yep. And just state, I'm sure you can grab this too in a second. It states that the spirit of the prophets are subject unto prophets. To the brother's point, we come back in our lot over and over again. If we're prophesying this truth, now we did it back in the ancient world. If niggas are wicked prophets now, false prophets now, they were false prophets back in the ancient world. You see, like the scripture tells us, there's nothing new underneath the sun, man. As again, all the spirits of prophets are subject unto prophets, righteous prophets, and also wicked, false, 2/3 prophets too as well. Look at this guy here, not paying attention. But see, the hopefully elect, we're paying attention.
Right.
we're standing on our watch. You see? Go ahead, brother. You got it.
Con. It says Ezekiel. Hold up. That's not it. Souls. Subject.
But continuing on, as while the brother pulls that scripture up, man, that's why we have to be diligent. The scriptures tell us, measure the time diligently. We're looking, and the scriptures also tell us to mark those that cause division too as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing these guys, fall out of the truth, waxing worse. We're putting that scopeo on them. You see? All right, go ahead, bro. You got it. I think you got this scripture.
Con. This is 1 Corinthians 14:32. It says, "And the spirits of the prophets are subject unto the prophets."
That's right.
And then the NLT, it says, "Remember that people who prophesied." Oh, they went off on that. But I'm gonna read it again in KJV. It says, "And the spirits of the prophets are subject unto the prophets," meaning the prophets can't change what they do. They can't change their occupation, so to speak.
Right.
A prophet is always going to be a prophet.
That's right, brother.
Even if he doesn't want to be. Look at Jonah.
Yep.
Jonah tried to run away.
That's right.
And the Lord brought him back.
Yep.
So in these times, brothers came from all walks of life. Certain brothers were into sports.
Yep.
Certain bros, were about to go to college, so on and so forth. But the Lord drew them, he drew them out of the world into the truth.
Right.
So the spirits of the prophets subject unto the prophets. You got it.
Yeah, like the scripture says, you've been called out of darkness into this marvelous
light. Yep.
Go ahead, bro. You got it.
So I'm going to end off with Revelation 10 and 11. Revelation chapter 10. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention too, just like the righteous prophets come back, the wicked prophets come back as well. Because we already mentioned, these guys bugging out. And we don't have to name names. You know who we're talking about.
Right, that's right.
They were bug outs in the ancient world too.
That's right.
they're just coming back to do what they already did, be a bug out.
That's their lot, man.
Right.
That's their lot. Go ahead, bro. You got it.
And we're coming back to do what we did, to prophesy and serve Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
That's right, bro.
And Lord willing finish his work.
Yep.
Revelation 10 and 11, it says, "And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings." And he's talking to John. So when you go back into history, there's no record of John ever, teaching again. There's no record of him getting off, the island of
Patmos.
Yeah, Patmos, which was a prison. It was a prison island.
Yep.
He was basically serving out a prison sentence. And, he was the only apostle who didn't get put to death.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is you can't find no history on him escaping, and teaching again. So is that a plot hole in the scripture?
Right.
Nah. When you understand reincarnation, he came back.
That's right, brother.
Just like Elijah came back, just like everyone comes back.
Yep.
You got anything to add?
Yeah, John the Revelator wasn't like that movie Castaway.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, where he finally made it off the island and made it back, and telling everybody his story. No, like the brother said, the spirits of prophets are subject unto the prophets. And John the Baptist, he came back and prophesied, and should we be of the elect? We prophesied in the ancient world, and we're prophesying now.
That's right.
Go ahead, brother, you got it.
Right, and John the Baptist came back too.
Yep.
He came back as Rabbi Abba Bivens,
Yep.
the forerunner of what we're involved in right now.
That's right.
And there's a lot of jakes, like they don't respect that. But that's all right though. The elect will.
Yep.
So Lowell in this lesson was edifying once again, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakhakwadash. Shalom.
Shalom.